Welcome to the Best Performance tutorial on analysing NAPLAN data. There are three parts to this video. 1. Analysing the data. 2. Identifying areas of focus. And 3. To plan for improvement and consolidation. I'm now going to take you through the analysis sheets first. Okay, after opening your school data file, you'll notice that there's 5 files: individual student tracking, light schools comparison, longitudinal graphs, the analysis sheets and the planning documents. We need to start at the analysis sheets. Inside you'll find there's 3 Excel spreadsheets, and we're going to look at Year 5 analysis. Now there'll be a couple of dialog boxes will come up, and you'll just close that one. And also you'll notice that in this particular version it says macros have been disabled. Just click on the options and enable this content. This is to run all our macros. On the front cover there is the name of the school, being the Performance Primary School in this case, the ICSIA being the Index Community for Social Educational Advantage, which was 1035, and also the NAPLAN 2012 Year 5. Along the bottom are some tabs to get us through to the learning areas, but more importantly is our navigation box, which gets us through to our reading student data. We can go back to cover, we can go into the reading Year 5 test, and we'll then go to the analysis sheets and then back to cover. So this is the way we navigate through our Excel spreadsheets. We're going to look at the actual Year 5 student data to start us off. Here there is the NAPLAN 2012 Year 5. In this particular case there was 64 students assessed. We have the national mean, the school mean percentage difference, and the actual answers from the test. And along the next column row is the first name, last name, date of birth, gender, the subgroups, the class, absentees, the raw score or total score, and the actual NAPLAN score. Inside of the actual students' responses, a 1 meaning the answer was correct, a letter meaning it was the incorrect answer, but this is what the student put, and in some cases it might be a 0 or a 1, which would mean it was hand marked, or in spelling, which is either right or wrong, and then there are blanks where the student actually didn't make an attempt or got it incorrect. Alright, now with our NAPLAN score down the centre, our raw score, this is where actually all the student data sits, and when we click on our analysis sheets we go into this area, which is actually analysing the data. Analyse the data. The analysis sheet summarises the student data and compares the tested cohort mean against the national mean by question and by strand. In this particular sheet, this summarises the students' data. So we have the strand summarised by the means of each particular area, being number, algebra, stats, probability, measurement, geometry, and the overall mean difference. The overall means difference is also transferred up to the top, next to our set performance target, and the number of students being 64. Now the question is, how we actually get the actual mean difference between, for instance, the strand of number. The mean difference is the difference between the school mean, in this case for question number 1 being 98%, the national mean being 95% of students got it correct, and the percentage difference being 3%. The average difference between all the questions for number is 2.73% above the national mean. In which case, for algebra it was 0.39, and in measurement it was 2.44, which is lower than the national mean. But overall, 2.23% was the overall mean difference. Bringing it up onto our performance target, you'll notice that there's the number 2. And the number 2 is representing that at the moment the average student was 2% above per question. So now we're going to identify the area of focus. And there are 3 parts to this. 1, the NAPLAN descriptor and the question. 2, the difference between the school mean and the national mean. and 3, the Australian curriculum reference. Now we're going to do that on the actual analysis sheet. So looking at our question, for instance, number 8, if we hover over number 8, it finds the number of all odd numbers between 20 and 32. This is the NAPLAN descriptor. Once we've clicked on 8, it comes to the actual question number 8. And if we go back to our analysis sheet, we're back into where we were summarising beforehand. In question number 8, we have the total number correct is 44. The school mean was 69%. The national mean was 72% with a -3. Now, the year and elaboration was 3.1N. This means the Australian curriculum was year 3, point 1 being the aspect 1 and the area of number. From here, we now can go on to and do our planning. And what we need to do is remember question number 8, and then we click for planning documents. Now, we're going to plan for improvement or consolidation. So number 1, investigating the questions based on the Australian curriculum entry, the NAPLAN descriptor, the NAPLAN question, and the Australian curriculum elaboration. Let's go and have a look at that now. Now we're looking at the planning documents for Year 5 numeracy. You'll notice that we have the Australian curriculum strand and elaboration index. Down the left-hand side we have the questions, the strand elaborations, and then the other questions and strand elaborations from 21 onwards. Now we were looking at question number 8. So I hold down Control and we get our little hand and we click on that and it brings us to Number and Algebra Year 3, and here we have the Australian curriculum entry. We also have the NAPLAN descriptor, we have the NAPLAN question and the Australian curriculum elaborations. This is the actual teaching part, and what I'm going to like to do is now take that information, copy that, and then we find ourselves a new page, and we'll use a blank document, and we just need to be able to do a set page layout, which in this case we will make it a landscape. We'll type in my name. We go to Mr. George. It'll be Year 5. Year 5. NAPLAN 2012. And we just enter that, and we just then right-hand click and we paste. Now what we've got is ourselves is a planning document with all the information that we require. Okay, and that's about where we'd leave it from there. Now we're going to look at filtering in the analysis sheets. The filtering application is very powerful when analysing subgroups. We can filter in class groups, we can make group education plans, individual education plans, sayers and tags. Let's have a look at that now. The beauty about sorting is to be able to analyse particular groups. For instance, if I want to look at my class, just the C1 students, we can just click on C1, you go OK, and you'll notice now we're only looking at 32 students, and then when I look at the analysis sheet, you'll find there's 32 students, and the actual performance target is now 4 and no longer 2, and our question number 8 that we're looking at before is now -10. Now if we go back to our numeracy student data, we go back to our class and make that all. Okay. What about if we wanted to look at just the gender? For instance, just our males, and go OK. We're looking at 33 students. Let's see how they fared. Still at the performance target at 2, and question 8's now gone down to -5. And our last one, if I just want to look at one student, for instance, we need to go into back onto our all. Select all, okay. And if we wanted just to look at, for instance, our friend Abby, and when we look at her spot, we have all the light greens are the questions that she got right, and the black ones are saying the ones she got wrong, and she's got a real situation with algebra at -12.50. But she's very good at geometry with 25 above. So that's the power of filtering, and make sure you always bring it back to select all and OK. And that is how we use our filtering. Thank you. And that completes our tutorial on using the NAPLAN analysis sheets. Thank you very much for watching. If there's any other questions you may have, you can contact us on our website on bestperformance.com.au or the other details which are on this page.